Yo, what's going on, people? Welcome back to Football Therapy with me, your host, Jan. How you doing? Chelsea are playing the greatest team on planet Earth at the moment in Paris Saint-Germain in the Club World Cup final. They are the best. They're the best. They're the best. Good analysis. An amazing in possession, build-up play, amazing in transition, reaction replay, amazing defense, whether it's just backline in the box, an amazing goalkeeper in terms of shot stopping, or indeed pressing, counter-pressing, physical, fast, relentless, and literally can do everything. They are the best team. They've got a Ballon d'Or front-runner in Ousmane Dembele that's been sort of rested until now. He got a substitute appearance, goal involvements, got his first start, but then substituted in the semi-final, two goal involvements, and now will be ready to cook Chelsea if he can in the final. We're talking about a super team who have broken the record in the Champions League final, beating their opponent 5-0. We're talking about an opponent who's just beaten off European royalty Real Madrid 4-0 in the semi-final of this competition. Of course, a competition that Real Madrid, like all other teams, are taking very seriously. And now they're facing Chelsea. They go into this game red hot, scintillating favourites, as they would against any other team in the world, It's simple as that. Maybe Liverpool, you'd think, oh, could they give them a game? But they're still better than Liverpool. And lots of people aren't giving Chelsea a snowball's chance in hell to do anything in this game. But are they wrong to say that? We're going to speak about the game. We're going to preview the game. I'm going to have a bit of fun, tell you what I do, which I don't necessarily expect us to do. But Chelsea are peaking at the right time. The last few months, they've been good. To be fair, PSG have only been good in 2025. Sort of on the international stage, but boy, have they been good in 2025. Ever since they moved Ousmane Dembele into the false 9 role, they've got Super Saiyan level players. I mean, like I said, Donnarumma in goal has been amazing. Both fullbacks, best fullback pairing in world football, and Chelsea's is pretty darn good. But, Nuno Mendes and Hakimi is just different gravy granules, mate. Marquinhos and Pacho, of course, they'll have to play with Beraldo, who's pretty good himself. They've got the most incredibly balanced midfield in Ruiz, Vitinha and Neves, though Chelsea's midfield and certainly midfield options aren't bad themselves, and perhaps with a little bit more time we can see some serious business from the Chelsea midfield. And what else can I say about the four rotated attackers in Kvaratskhelia, Dembele and Doué, and of course Barcola, and even Ramos, the striker who comes off the bench. Now, say it quietly, maybe... Well, up until recently, we had a little bit more depth off the bench. Because off the bench, really, who do they bring off? Bring on, rather. We'll get into it, guys. Welcome back. We're going to preview the game. So, welcome back. Bit of housework. Most of you who watch my content aren't subscribed. So, if that's some of you, why not hit subscribe? Thank you for liking and subscribing. Let's get into it. All right. So, before we talk about Chelsea, let's do a little bit more PSG. This is the team that slapped up Real Madrid 4-0 in the semi-final, and it absolutely could have been more, man. It could have been so much more. They went easy on Inter Miami as well because of old friends and all that, Luis Enrique, etc., and they scored many goals against them. Donnarumma in goal, amazing. Even Beraldo, who's coming in for the suspended Pacho, superb. Again, we've spoken about the fullbacks, the midfield, and the attack. I did want to say that off the bench, The two names you see the most off the bench is Bradley Barcola if Doué starts, or Doué if Barcola starts. Yeah, that's usually what you see. And then you see Zaire-Emery as a sort of fresh legs in the midfield. And that's the vibe. Of course, you see Gonzalo Ramos come on as a conventional number 9 rather than Luis Enrique's preferred false 9 role system that he plays. But every now and again, you see Gonzalo Ramos. But generally, that's kind of... You see the two subs. Zaire-Emery, maybe, and of course, one of the 4 attackers that come on that haven't started. Other than that, it's not cray-cray. It's not like an immense amount of options. But they're just so refined. I don't want to wax lyrical about them for too long. But ultimately... they're the perfect team. Everyone are talking about them like this kind of, I suppose, generational football team. Like people talking about Pep Guardiola's Barcelona. And rightly so, by the way. Rightly so. But because they're just, like I say, they do everything. They can press, they can counter press, they can counter attack, they can build up play. They're physical, they're fast. They combine well. They score wonder goals well. They can all do what they can all do, either passing play to surgically, dismantle your defense in the box through passing, or they can just dribble around you. Like Arsene Wenger was recently speaking about them, and he said the difference about this PSG team is because they can all dribble. So it's not just about finding the space and shapes and passing lanes. Every single one of those friggin' players on the pitch can just dribble around you, as well as being all amazing pass masters like Vitinha. Like Vitinha it's just a joy to watch if you appreciate the beautiful game, the art of football. You watch Vitinha and it's just incredible. Chelsea they're longer odds than 4-1. So if you find them at 4-1, that's good odds. PSG are heavy odds on. They are heavy favourites. And that's not a slight on Chelsea. That's just how ruddy good PSG are, and they are really good. Now, that being said, Chelsea aren't bad either. They've got to the Club World Cup final. They got top 4. They won the Conference League, which is a notable achievement of sorts on the big stage. Amidst all these stories of Noni Madueke to Arsenal, which of course I've covered, even Jackson could go. That will be in a different Chelsea news video. Chelsea have good players, and they're defensively a lot better. Now, as much as I'd opened the video speaking about, Real Madrid shipping 4, they did give them 2. And then by then, obviously, their heads had dropped a little bit. So you'd be hoping the young, these are the two of the youngest. So Chelsea are the second youngest team in the Club World Cup, only to Salzburg. There would be the young, in the top 5 league teams in this competition, Chelsea would be the youngest, and then PSG would be the second youngest if you're removing Salzburg. So PSG, they're both very young. Chelsea are slightly younger. Chelsea are more inexperienced. They are. They simply are. We don't have a Marquinhos in defence. And of course, the biggest and most glaring difference, because, they've got a better team than us. People are saying what Chelsea players get into the PSG team. You'd say Caicedo. I think I'd take out Neves in the midfield and put in Caicedo. And then, if you remember that Cole Palmer has just had that season, an in-form Cole Palmer, probably the one out of Bakola and Doué, whoever's joining Dembele and Kvaratskhelia, Palmer, in-form Palmer benches that guy. So 2 Chelsea players. And that is it, bro. That is it. If they had injuries, they'd love to get a Chelsea player, starting player quality in. Like I said, their depth off the bench, isn't it insane? And, Rob Sanchez compared to, Gianluigi Donnarumma is silly sausage business. Do you know what I mean? So, it really, they are a lot better, but Chelsea are good. We've developed this, resolute mentality. Whether it's Willie Issa, the rugby guy, the mentality monster that's hired to help our mentality, if that is a thing. We do come with, even like the end of last season, we've come back from difficult moments. They've shown that they can win games and they can defend and even react to adversity, which is something we couldn't do before, this young team. So, they deserve credit. And I would have rather played Real Madrid because I thought we would have beaten them. Or at least it'll be very even. We will, odds are we'll lose against PSG, but I would love to win. I'm about to show you how I'd set up in trying to win. But it is a great opportunity for this team who have been not getting big for their boots, because it's not that. It's the opposite. It's developing confidence in themselves, being like, right, this is the final boss football. You've been winning games. You've won a trophy. It's a trophy. You're winning games. Here's a first taste of final boss, action. And, if you can go toe to toe with them, great. If you get slapped in the face, not great, but it's a apt reminder that you're going to be playing the level of these teams in the Champions League next season. You got to sort your stuff out. You can reflect all summer. We're starting the next campaign soon, but you can reflect in the time in between. So the Champions League starts again. I don't want that to happen again. We cannot let that happen again. That's the level. That's what we need to get to. And Chelsea have made the money by getting to the final. Of course, you earn a bit more by winning it, but they've generated lots of revenue, especially with player sales. Again, that will be covered in Chelsea news videos. But Yeah. So look, let's have a bit of fun. This is not what I think will happen. I've just pulled out this, right? Swap these guys around quickly. Now, Real Madrid tried to play and pass it around against PSG, and they absolutely slapped him. I wonder if we defend like proper Chelsea heritage, boring Chelsea with... Look, Jackson's this is all theory. His confidence is low as red cards. He's even being mooted for a sale. But just for like the theory, just for a thought exercise, he and Delap are very similar forwards, and they're really good runners. They're both fast. They're both deceptively fast, and they both can run in the break. Imagine playing long balls in behind Paris Saint-Germain and having players like Jackson and Delap running through. Now, Jackson's amazing. He's really, really fast. He's amazing at running through. His decision-making is poor. He's, he's not in the best space at the moment. So, let's swap Jackson, and let's just put in Joao Pedro in a front two with Delap. You could sort of play him like that slightly. Do you know what I mean? Delap running in behind. Now, I don't think this will happen, but I would love this, yeah? I would absolutely love it. You can even have, like... you could do something like this. Pedro Neto holding the width on the right, running in. And Pedro Neto, absolutely rapid as well. And you could do something like... You could do like a sort of... Because a Cucurella could go forward, Cole could go left, Chalobah on the middle, James. And you could sort of create a diamond like that. And Cucurella holding... the width on the left, which we've seen obviously coming inside, just being really, really reactive, and Palmer dropping deep, Regista playing sweeping over the top balls for very fast players. I'm not sure how fast Pedro is. He's not much of a runner. He's more of a false nine. But you could have these guys linking up, and then you could have runner. Do you know what I mean? And you could even if you're gonna have a fullback holding the width. This is an interesting one, isn't it? Because then James would have to come out. Because you could also play like a Malo Gusto. Do you know what I mean? Like a Malo Gusto over here on the right. You'd have to be like the Chalobah. There we go. Where's Gusto at? Where's my boy? And then Gusto holding the width as well, running. And just runners, running in behind. Compact. No playing out the back, especially with this goalie in goal. Don't do what Real Madrid did. Learn from them. Even though, Courtois made some excellent saves in that game. Stink it up. Don't give them the space. And use the pace. Use the pace we've got. And then you can use the bigger bench that we've got. Because it's going to be hot. They will get tired eventually. We can use, hopefully, your Romeo Lavia's, hopefully your Andre Santos's, and stuff like that. So let's also build... We do 4-3-3? No, apparently not. Let me just quickly change the shape. Right, another option, slightly more likely in certain elements. Joao Pedro to start. Even if he's tired, he's on cloud nine. Something's happening to him at the moment. He had an amazing cameo for his debut. He scored 2 wonder goals in his full debut. Don't pour cold water on this bright, shining star. You start Joao Pedro as this sort of false nine that can link up. You play Pedro Neto, who's probably been our player of the tournament, and you play Reece James, our captain, who's sensible and very good at locking down, very good at locking down superstar wingers. Like, he'll be up against Kvaratskhelia. So Reece James has locked down the greatest before. So... Now, this could probably be more likely Enzo Fernandez, knowing Enzo Maresca. But if it is the battle of the midfields and you want control, you play these 3 guys, Lavia, Andre Santos, and Moises Caicedo, and suddenly you have functionality. You have 3 players that can tackle. You have 3 players that can pass. You got players that can dribble. Caicedo's got a long pass in him. Suddenly you're like, no. No matter how good this PSG midfield is, because as good as we love Enzo Fernandez, he's the vice captain of Chelsea. He's not a tackler. He's not going to track back and put in good slide tackles. All 3 of these players can be really good defensively, and they've all got obviously technical ability as well. And what you've got here, Palmer, of course, left wing, again, we saw him actually play really well on the left wing. It's keeping him on the pitch. He will come inside maybe, and we know he's got a good relationship with Cucurella. And of course, if Cucurella goes forwards, you can have a diamond midfield as well, which of course can be very, very controlling. And you lose a little bit of width, but if you can stay quite narrow and stink up the spaces in the middle, that could be a problem for the likes of PSG, especially when they're not going to be popping crosses into the box, into a proper number 9. They're all false 9, free running players. So you got a free 3-4-3 in terms of diamond midfield. That is locked down. And of course, as well, Joao Pedro can stay really close, create space, runners for Cucurella and Neto running beyond. And that is like a really intricate and interesting tactical setup. Really looking to not play your own game, guys. I can't stress this enough. This is not about Chelsea playing their own game. This is about Chelsea stopping PSG playing their game. I cannot stress this enough. You do not Real Madrid this. If we were as good as PSG, yeah, we play our own game. We know they're going to play their own game, which means we have the unique opportunity. Well, it's not unique because everyone could do this. Stop them, anti-football them, Chelsea heritage, stink it up. Stink it up, that's what I'm saying. Of course, also, you could do stuff like this. You could play, if you don't want to Cucurella hold the width, play a back 4, really close the spaces, back 4. You can play, say, double pivot, Caicedo, Lavia. Or to be honest, you could do this. You could do Caicedo, just sit right in front of them. Santos and Lavia, Palmer still plays as like an inside left winger. And then Joao Pedro, tip of the diamond. And you're literally playing runners in Palmer and Pedro Neto. And, maybe if you had like a Jamie Gittins or someone there, you could swap him and that. And yeah, man, you could even do it like... you could even essentially, like I said, if for some reason Joao Pedro doesn't start and you do want to just soak it up and really play on the break, you do this. Delap and Neto holding the width, chalk on his boots, running in behind spaces, Delap staying more narrow, and just beating the F out of the defenders. Like, give me the ball, holding it up, dragging his team up the pitch until later on when everyone's a bit tired, even if we're a goal down, everyone's a bit tired. All right, Delap, thank you very much. Bring on the superstar in-form man himself, Joao Pedro. You bring on an Enzo Fernandez for Santos, which is amazing quality. Where is Enzo Fernandez? Do you know what I mean? You bring on a Gusto legs, and suddenly you're in a position where, PSG, for how good they are, they're hot. They're like, okay, we've brought on Zaire Emery. But they've brought on all these guys, because Lavia might not start, Santos might not start, say it's those two that don't. You could bring those two, hopefully Lavia's fit, off the bench. That's better than bringing on just Zaire Emery. A Romeo Lavia and an Andre Santos off the bench, fresh legs in midfield. You bring on a Delap off the bench maybe to beat the, so-and-so out of them. I know they'll bring on Gonzalo Ramos, but still, it's like we need to anti-football them until they get tired, and then we turn to our bench, and then we play in the lanes, the passing lanes, the channels, and play in behind. Even if we're losing at that point, we'll be in a better position to do so. What do you think, though? Let me know your thoughts. Leave them down in the comment section below. Hopefully you've enjoyed this theoretical bit of fun tactics. Who knows what Moressi's going to do, but I do have increasing belief in him, but we might get slapped. And to be honest, if we do, it's okay. People will understand and will learn from it, and who knows, maybe buy an extra player in a weak position that gets exploited. Let me know your thoughts, comment down below. Thank you for liking and subscribing, and I hope to see you back here soon. Peace.